We know a handful of teams have hired new coaches in the NFL, but the national media continues to throw love at the New England Patriots in their hire of Mike Vrabel. How did everyone else stack up? Let's jump into it. My name is Aaron. You guys know on the daily pushing out Patriots content to people just like you who can't get enough. So do me a favor, hit the subscribe button as we continue to rise up the ranks. Hit the like button. Would appreciate it. As well, question below, and this is for my man Drew who commented on my video the other day, and I just saw the comment. I was dying. He said, gosh, I didn't know Matt Ryan is pushing out Patriots content on YouTube, and I just started dying because I have plenty of buddies. I have a couple group texts that people call me Matt Ryan all the time. Here we go. Matt Ryan, listen, we're close. I'm going to tell you. I've been told Matt Ryan. I've been told Woody from Toy Story. I've been told the man in the yellow hat from Curious George. And then, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the main character, his best friend who wears the Gordie Howe jersey. I can't think of his name. Cameron? I think that's his name. Anyways, comment below. Do I look like Matt Ryan or not? Comment below. That's my starting off question. But anyways, let's jump into it today. Let's get into some Patriots content. So first and foremost, we're talking coaches. Now, we're going to start at the bottom. Don't look. Here we go. We're going to start at the bottom of the list, and we're going to work our way up from coaches who have been hired currently by organizations, the Cowboys, the Jets, all these other programs that needed head coaches. So first and foremost, Dallas Cowboys look to their offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer. He is hired. A lot of people saying this is a confusing hire, but we're going to just jump into it and tell you it is not confusing, and we'll tell you why. But grade most across the board. This is Fox Sports, but a lot of other places have the same grade, and that's a D. The reason being, doesn't have experience as a head coach, and it's one of those things where he wasn't even on the board to be considered as a head coach until Jerry Jones was just like, yep, hey, you're the head coach. They flirted about Deion for a little bit. There's some other coaches maybe that were brought up, but I think a lot of people were like, this is a possibility for Deion Sanders to take this job. And a lot of people were chirping in Jerry Jones's ear. And when it comes down to it, he gets Schottenheimer. And I think the biggest reason, and this points it out right here, is he's going to come in. He's not going to ruffle any feathers. He's not going to challenge Jerry Jones. I think that's the biggest thing. And he's going to stay in line. He's going to do his thing. Now, I do not like the Cowgirls. If you've watched this channel, I'm not a fan of them. Never have been. Love it when they lose. So for me, I think it's a great hire. I think it's going to continue to run this franchise down. Now, this past season, they had issues with injury. They just never surmounted the injuries and just the losses piled up. It was just bad for the Dallas Cowboys, especially having a division where you have to play the Eagles twice, who obviously are in the Super Bowl, and then you have to play the Commies. So it was downhill. But Schottenheimer, I don't think is a good hire. Again, we could all be proved wrong, and that's the great thing about it is when it comes down to it, they could go out and make it all the way to the NFC Championship game, make it to the Super Bowl next year. That would surprise me, but you never know. Maybe there's something that Jerry Jones sees in Schottenheimer. I do also think, too, it was a money thing. They said, hey, this is our cheapest option. And, Jerry likes the guy. Maybe his family sent him a Christmas card every year. Who the heck knows? But when it comes down to it, Schottenheimer, bottom of the list. And I will say how they treated Mike McCarthy on the way out was kind of rough. Not obviously extending his contract in the season, which I understand why. But then also moving forward, they wouldn't let him interview with the Bears in the season, all these different things. They knew for a long time that he was going to get fired. But not going to let him. It was just really weird how they did that. It makes me dislike him even more. Next up, we have Liam Coen. If you know this whole saga with Liam Coen, it's just very interesting. Young guy, disciple of Sean McVay in LA. But he is really, a lot of people would say, the person responsible for resurrecting Baker Mayfield's career at Tampa Bay for the Buccaneers. Now it's that whole idea that he's going to be able to come back and do that in Jacksonville and helping Trevor Lawrence in what a lot of people would say is an offense that is, I don't want to say a sleeping giant, but has a lot of potential. Again, it wasn't that long ago they were in the playoffs and they won a playoff game. And so when it comes down to it, Liam Coen, a younger guy, an offensive-minded guy, being able to come in and hopefully turn this organization around to making the playoffs again. And that division is not a crazy tough division. There's not any juggernauts, throwing punches around with, Jacksonville, the Colts, all the Titans. It's not some crazy division. So when it comes down to it, I think B-, sure. Again, a very small coaching window for him. He was a coordinator for 2 years, and then he was assistant 5 years prior to that for 5 years. So yeah, he's very young, very inexperienced, but again, I think he brings a lot of expertise when it comes to the offense. And again, who knows? Him and Schottenheimer are both first-time head coaches, so we'll see. Same with Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn, again, I do really like the Detroit Lions. Obviously being in Michigan. And so as well, you look at the Jets hiring Aaron Glenn. I think obviously first and foremost, they wanted Mike Vrabel, which I still love the fact that they were like, hey, we're going to make a last ditch effort on Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel, please, for the love of God, please come over here. And then he's like, nope, obviously going to the Pats. But again, I think Aaron Glenn, the one thing I really like about him is he, like Mike Vrabel, is a leader of men. He's going to go out there. He's going to hold you accountable. And obviously being a disciple of Dan Campbell, I think he's going to bring a positive culture to the Jets organization, and they need that. Now, again, it comes down to who is he going to bring around him. I haven't been focused really on what the Jets are doing at the moment. But again, also what's going to go on with Aaron Rodgers as the 2025 season officially the league year starts, which would be, I believe it's that March 10th, March 12th, something in there. But as that starts, it's going to be interesting to see how all the pieces fall together, especially for our divisional rival in the Jets. And so we'll see. But again, I would say B+, definitely no experience as a head coach. Next up, we got his counterpart in Detroit, Ben Johnson, leaving for the Bears. Now, I think this is appropriate, giving Ben Johnson a little leg up on Aaron Glenn, and that is just because how he was able to coach the offense in Detroit was breaking NFL records left and right. And so the only thing I would say that I think Aaron Glenn has the edge on Ben Johnson is the fact that, again, I think Aaron Glenn, through adversity, had a ton of adversity this year with the Lions, with all the injuries on defense, was able to still lead these men and push through. And I think leadership-wise, I like Aaron Glenn's leadership as opposed to Ben Johnson's leadership. I think that's a huge thing. And so Ben Johnson, though, coming in where the Bears have a great offense, let me rephrase that, have a lot of potential. That's better. Have a lot of potential, but one of their biggest issues is their offensive line, so it's going to be interesting to see. We know Ben Johnson is young, and so moving forward, what will he be able to do? Again, no experience as a head coach, so again, I think that's a big reason he got an A-. Next up, you have Pete Carroll. You're like, Aaron, when the heck are we going to get to Mike Vrabel? We're going to get there, I promise. But number 2, Mike Vrabel, you're probably like, well, where's Mike Vrabel then? You know already. You know where he's at. Come on now. You know the title of this video. Come on now. And so Pete Carroll, though old, 73, he's done it all. He's won a Super Bowl, won an NCAA championship. I think that it's cool to see he has another opportunity. I hope he does well. With the Raiders. I'm not a huge fan of the Raiders, but I've always liked Pete Carroll in some capacity as a coach, and that was usually back in the USC days before he went to Seattle and stuff. But I liked watching him coach. I think he's a good coach. I think, again, he's a great leader of men, and he has so many connections from being in the game for so long. I think that's something that's also a massive benefit for him, but also the fact that he just has the experience. But I think the age You've seen him scrambling around on video, throwing touchdowns. He still has it in him. Last but not least, Mike Vrabel, A+ hire by the New England Patriots. You're like, Aaron, have mercy. Finally get to the meat of the subject. Right, I know. It's off season. We haven't even got to the Super Bowl yet. Patriots content, there's some here, there's some there. Listen, I'm trying to weed it in and out, but this is what I got for today. But anyways, this right here is awesome, and I think this is a huge consensus among national media that Mike Vrabel, in retrospect, the Patriots, that's who they should have hired the first time around. Again, you look at his tenure with the Tennessee Titans. He had a 51-45 record. They were not a great team, him coming in. They made an AFC championship game. A lot of people didn't think that was going to happen. He had some great records there. And when it comes down to it, he has that rapport. He has that relationship with the organization. He has the experience. He has the leadership, especially we talk about, and I was not in the locker room with the Patriots, but a lot of things you read lead you to believe that it was a toxic environment in the locker room as the losses started to surmount and it got rough. And I think clearly there was issues in the locker room and in some negative voices in there. And I think that's something that Mike Vrabel will put to an end. And so moving forward, again, we know, great hire, great leadership, great man. But the one thing that's going to be tough for Mike Vrabel, and it's something we haven't talked about a lot with all this hype, there's going to be a lot of, I don't want to say pressure. Obviously, there always is going to be pressure. That's part of the job. But there's going to be a lot of high expectations. Again, I have said this. I truly believe with the cap space they have, with the draft picks that they have, I think it's not unrealistic to say they have a chance to make a push at the playoffs. Again, let's not forget, even with the bad season they had, I'm not going to say they could have made the playoffs this year. I mean, anything could happen. But they had some losses where, hey, though they play a little better. They have a more serviceable offensive line. Maybe they start Drake Maye sooner. Who knows? It could have looked a little different at times, especially in those close games. But again, we know when it started going downhill, it was rough. It was rough. But that being said, I think Mike Vrabel is going to have a lot of high expectations going into the season, and I think he's going to embrace that, and I think he's going to succeed, especially with this young quarterback in Drake Maye, who is an absolute dog. Whew. That being said, moving on to Drake Maye, he finally addressed his conversation he had with the head ball coach in Mike Vrabel, and he basically said, listen, he reached out to me on the phone. He's been awesome, a guy he's done it. He's played in the league. He's won a Super Bowl. Obviously, he's been a coach. You have to respect what he's done and seen what he's done. I think the biggest thing is he's been a head coach and knows what it's like. Boom. Drake Maye, saying it out loud, but I like the fact that he's respectful and he's not throwing Gerard Mayo under the bus. That's a leader. So excited to get up to New England and get things done. So, again, hey, he has experience. I think it's probably hard when you go into an organization where you're looking around at a lot of people where it's like, this is my first time. 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 So you have all these people that, sure, they have coaching experience, but not at the positions they were at. So it's tough. It is tough. And so I think Drake Maye, this is a breath of fresh air for him. And moving forward, I think this is only great for the organization, especially when your top quarterback is excited, or your top person, the face of your franchise, is excited for it. Last but not least, you guys know we've talked about it, but Patriots are reportedly considering Wes Welker to fill the wide receiver coach role. As time moves forward, I think this is inevitable, in my opinion, just because you have seen Wes Welker. He has obviously has experience with the organization. Sorry, I'm losing my point. I think the biggest thing is he has a relationship with Vrabel that doesn't go back, or that goes back to when he was coaching at Houston, and Vrabel was the defensive coordinator there under Bill O'Brien. I think that's a big thing. We've looked at hires by Mike Vrabel and seen, hey, he's hiring people that he has coached with before, which obviously is, I've coached with you before. I've seen how you work, and boom, I want to see that here in the Patriots organization under my leadership. And so I think not only is it the fact that obviously he played for the Patriots, but I think it's that thing where it's, I've seen you coach before, and I like the way you coach, and I want to bring that into this organization as I'm the leader. So I think that's going to be big for the Patriots moving forward. Again, who knows? But I would tell you right now, I think the odds are in Wes Welker's favor right now to be the wide receiver coach. So comment below. Let me know what you think. Any things that we talked about. You might say, hey, Aaron, you talked a lot about other new head coaches. That's true. Why not? It's football. We're talking football here, guys. As well, comment below, Matt Ryan or not. Do I look like him? It always kills me. Too funny. Anyways, hit that subscribe button on your way out. We'll talk later. Peace.